I can't breathe. I can't breathe. My brother just died this week.
I'm here to announce that former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin is in custody. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has been charged by the Hennepin County Attorney's Office with murder and with manslaughter.
My reaction was like, wow. I can't believe that this many people are showing up to protest in Olean. I can't believe that this many people are really in the middle of the street protesting in the city and really showing their support. When George Floyd was murdered, I sat back for a little bit, watched how things were progressing in Olean and who was doing what and how that was happening. And I was talking to Ezra.
Well, after George Floyd happened, me and Danny would talk on the phone at least 3 times a day,
and just, getting his thoughts on it and where he thought the city was moving and where he thought that they needed some help.
And then we decided to link up with some people in the area that wanted to see some change.
And we would talk about them types of things. And then finally, I just said to him, I said, we have to stop sitting on the sidelines and watching this. And now it's time for us to get involved.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Lives matter! Black lives matter! Black lives matter!
There were people protesting here, which was unusual. And what inspired me about it was that it wasn't just minorities, it was mostly Caucasians out there. And that was, when an event happens and white folks get behind it in the masses like that, to be real with you, there's nothing that can't change. We have to have that in order. It can't just be a minority group. It has to be everyone out there to push real change.
My family is one of the first African-American families from Olean that actually migrated in from Geneva, New York, and started moving down to the Portville, Olean area. So, the Gatons, the Petersons and Clemens are the first African-American families to settle in Olean, the Olean area. When I hear stories about how my family first came here and they helped settle, in Olean, and they helped build their lives in Olean, it means that this is where they felt that it was productive and important for them to put their roots and build their families and build their generations. And with that, I feel like it's an obligation of mine to uphold what they would have wanted me to do. So, and that's fight for, a better Olean and fight for the rights of, their family, our family and our minority population here. And I think that's important to me, and because that's what they did. They built their generational families here, and they fought their way up through, up through everything in the city, and they fought their way, to have the little bit of stuff that they have had.
So we talked a little bit about the protesting in the summer, and everybody was on board, and you had a lot of support. But then when it got time to fight with the city and get change, a lot of people disappeared. And help bring that forward, because it gets kind of daunting on you. Like you get down on yourself, like, am I doing the right things? And you don't got a lot of people around you, and not a lot of people actually really want to see change. They just like to scream about it. So I think that's one thing to point out. I mean, a lot of things have came out of the situation with George Floyd, but now is the time where we put action behind the protest. My next goals is like getting elected in November. That's like the forefront right now, is in the middle of the election, trying to get elected and seeing what we could do that avenue. So we actually have a voice inside of the chambers.
It's called United Generations. We have a gentleman who is running for mayor and 2 people that are running for councilman. They have tried to talk to, the major parties out here, and they couldn't get their endorsement, and they wanted to run, and they believe that, the major parties were putting obstacles in their way, so that it's hard for just a person who wants to be engaged to be able to run. So we took them through the process and started a political party, and now will be going out starting the 13th to get their signatures to put them on the ballot. This is a Republican ran area, and a lot of people, not just here, but throughout our country, they have the tendency to vote down the line. So if they're a Republican, they're going to vote all Republicans. They're a Democrat, they're going to vote all Democrat. So it is a big challenge. And the system is really set up so that you don't try to get a third party in there, that it stays to be Democratic and Republican. It's all about getting on the ballot. If you can get your name on the ballot, then you have a chance. And what I've been telling everybody is like the Stacey Abrams theory. You have to get out there and pound the pavement, got to knock on doors, get people engaged. That's why we're going to be having all these different events from now until throughout the summer until November. It's really, just getting the people out.
I'm going to sign an executive order today. Will require local governments and police departments all across the state, about 500, to develop a plan that reinvents and modernizes police strategies and programs in their community.
One of the things that are important that are coming out of there is a civilian review board. And what that does is look over civilian complaints with police officers.
We sent the paper in April 1st. We're still going to be working on it. We haven't met in about a month. I'm actually getting this evening, going to be writing the mayor email about that. We haven't met in a month, and we are supposed to, a lot of people have resigned from it. And there is supposed to be a group of us still staying on to discuss the civilian review board and how that it should be put together. We haven't did that yet. Some of us have met outside of the meeting and discussed things. So we're a little bit further than what the mayor thinks. But he's slow dragging on putting the meeting together.
See, that's why we're in an interesting point right now. Like I said, the civilian review board's not in place right now. So what avenue do those 2 girls have to form their complaint of an officer shooting at them? Like, what do they go do? There's no process. What are they going to go ask the police department where the cop that just shot him? Like, are they just going to go ask him for information and ask for this guy to be held accountable? Probably not. But what do they do? So maybe that's a situation where the civilian review board would work, but we don't have one in place right now. So.
Can't wait to see everything actually flourish You know, we're planting seeds and we're going by watering them, and they're starting to grow. People can start seeing that. You can just tell by, you know, how many people are actually getting out there and activated and engaged. There was no engagement. You know, we didn't have it. People just, things happened. People just went to their neutral corners, and that was it. You know, if it didn't affect me, it doesn't matter to me. That's how things work. Now you can see more people like, hey, no, this ain't right. We're going to fight against that.
They will stand up for what's right. And not only will they stand up for what's right, but now what you see is a whole bunch of young people holding you accountable to what you say, holding the officials, the elected officials accountable to what they say, holding them accountable to what they do, and the things that they pass and how they carry themselves. That's very evident now with some of the comments and the things that young people are saying to these elected officials, and how they're approaching them now. And I don't think that without that protest and without that public outcry, that would have happened. So I think they're reminded of that every time someone says to them, why'd you say that? Why'd you do that? What did you really mean by this? And it's something that they're not used to, but it's something that they're going to have to get real comfortable with.
It did touch a lot of people around the country, but what if something like that happened here? The engagement would just skyrocket and go through the roof. And if something like that happened, I think that there'd be a lot of support in the community for the movement and for the cause.
The jury, I'm now going to ask you individually if these are your true and correct verdicts. Please respond yes or no.
As much as you want to have relief, and as much as you want to have closure, and as much as you want to have, you know, a sense of justice is served and America is great, you can't, because nothing was right from the beginning. The only thing that was right was the people did the right thing that were standing there. The people did the right thing. The bystanders did the right thing, which led up to the verdict, right? If it wasn't for the cameras and it wasn't for the people standing there, you would have never seen a verdict. So I think that can't let you sleep easy.